You know the hardest thing to get people about success? The hardest thing is to start. Start, man. Most people are frozen with fear, and you frozen with the how-to. You can't figure out how to make $1 million, so you never start. You ain't got to know how to make $1 million. Who told you that? You got to start, man. You got to take a leap of faith. Quit tripping yourself out of the blessing because you worried about the how-to.
The challenges of life. How do we get stuck? A friend of mine went through a divorce. My best friend. He had a wife that did not love him as much as he loved her. It was his first real true love. He was a very religious man. Did not believe in divorce. He made a mistake, and he paid for his mistake with a lot of pain, a lot of tears. And there came to a point where he knew he should have gotten a divorce. But he was stuck. He was stuck in something called revenge. He said, she's made me so miserable, I'm going to pay her back. He was stuck, and he stayed in there longer than he should have because it began to attack him. It began to affect him psychologically. And as a result of that, when he eventually did get a divorce, he took that same attitude to other relationships, looking for something to go wrong. He was burned so badly, he did not want to risk pain again. He was going in relationships trying to avoid pain. When it became too close, he would do something to make sure the relationship did not work. He would always try and find something wrong with the person because there are no perfect people. So if you look for it, you can find it. He was stuck in revenge. Another friend of mine, working on a job, loved the company very much, expected to retire there. And one day they called him in the office, asked him for his badge and identification, called the security man up, walked into his desk, told him he was fired and he had to leave then. He was devastated. And if you came anywhere near him, he will tell you his story, as we all have stories. Even when he got a job, he went on the job telling anybody who would listen how they fired him unjustly. And he always ended with, it wasn't fair. Life isn't fair. Life just is. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do.
You only got 8 years of life, by the way, just so you know. You only live 8 years. Average person lives 78. You spend 28 of those years sleeping. You spend 10 and a half to 12 of them working. You spend another 3 or 4 shopping, chores, internet, traffic. Add it up, you get 8 years. And you're not a newborn, so you got less than that. You got to get in a hurry to make a difference in your life. Time is running out like that. I'm fired up. You fired up? Probably didn't know we were going there. When I was a kid growing up, I don't know if you had this, my mom had the good china in a china cabinet. We had this furniture in the living room that was wrapped with cellophane that we weren't allowed to sit on until important people came over. Anybody have any of that in their house? We never got around to sitting on it. And it died and got stale and old and dated, and so do dreams. If you don't start getting after your dream, it'll get old and dated and stale because you keep wrapping it in cellophane. You keep waiting till you know a little more, till I know a little more, till I know a little more. If I just knew a little more, that's BS. You don't need to know a little more. You need to execute a little more. You need to get after it. You need to make some mistakes. Perfection is the lowest possible standard. We're trying to be perfect. You don't need to know everything. The best people I know in business, they take action when they don't know everything. They learn what they can and they go execute. They make a mess. Being an entrepreneur is messy. You need to embrace the mess. Embrace the chaos. You're never going to know everything you think you need to know. That's why my low IQ, and I'm not kidding when I say that, is to some extent an advantage. I don't think about all the stuff I don't need to know. I started on social media 2 years ago. I'm the #1 growth person in the history of business on social media, according to Forbes magazine. The way it started, Tony Robbins sitting on my balcony says, you need to get into this space. There's nobody that's an heir apparent. You're a better speaker than me. You know more of this stuff than me. And all these other clowns don't know what they're talking about. Get in the space. I said, I don't want to do that. I'm shy. I'm introverted. I just like speaking on the stage and leaving. I don't want to be posting stuff every day. He goes, that's why you're an effing loser. Right on my balcony, on that copper house you seen there. I said, I'm a loser. He goes, yeah, you say you want to help all these people, but you don't want to be inconvenienced to do it. I said, dude, I don't even know how all this stuff works. He's like, you think I know all this stuff works? Just start, dumbass. My son was in the kitchen. I said, Max, go get your phone. How do you do this thing? He goes, Dad, you need an account. I go, set me up one. He comes back 5 minutes later. He goes, I got you an Instagram account. I go, okay, good. I'm going to do one of those videos. And he literally goes, it has to be a minute. I said, a minute? I don't even clear my throat in a minute. How the hell am I going to make a message to me? He goes, just just do it. And I said, blah, 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 post that one. Next day, I got 3 followers and 3 likes. I called Tony. I go, this crap isn't working. He goes, you've done 1 message, dumbass. He goes, by the way, post earlier in the morning, like around breakfast time. I'm on my boat driving to his house. I go, okay, breakfast time. And then I hear him say, I swear to you, this is true. I hear him say, what I hear is he goes, you need to post early, like around breakfast time, and make sure you add some hash browns to that. And I don't want to be embarrassed and act like I don't know anymore. So I call my son and I said, hey, you said you knew what you were doing on this stuff. Where the hell are the hash browns on this post? And I'm not playing around. If you don't know, I'll hire somebody who does. You're 15, you should know how this stuff works. He goes, Dad, I don't. I go, you're supposed to post at breakfast time, and somehow there's hash browns involved. Hashtags. And then Tony was my first guest. Then I recorded my first podcast. Listen to me. This will relate to you, and then I'm going to get into some details. I said, Tony, how do you do one? He goes, I don't know. Google it. I'm the #1 podcast in the world now. Tony, Grant, Gary Vee combined less downloads than me. They've been doing it for years. I've been doing it for like 18 months. Why is that? By the way, you should be listening to my podcast. Okay. Why? So this is literally what happens. I go, how do you say it? He goes, what the hell, Tony? Like, how do you say it where it gets into your computer? Because you probably need a microphone, dude. I don't know. Google it. So I Google how to start a podcast. Tim Ferriss, turns out, I didn't even know who that was, had an audio on how to start a podcast. I listened to the audio. He says, go to Amazon. I got a kit, the microphone, the recorder, that other stuff. So I order Tim Ferriss's kit, right? I get it to my house. I plug the mic in. I stick it, and I talk for like 30 minutes, my first podcast. And then I'm done. And I call Tony. I go, hey, I get it. How does it get out of that box into the world? He goes, I think you need to take that stick out and stick it in your computer. I'm on the phone with him. I go, okay, it's in there. He goes, save it. I go, okay, it's on the computer. Okay, cool. And we hang up. And then like an hour later, I go, so how do people know that's in my computer? You think I'm kidding? I swear to God. How do I know this is in my computer? And I call and go, hey, how's it get out of my computer into the internet? Like, I don't know that part either. I just recorded with my team. I go, I don't have a team. I got Max. He doesn't even know about hash browns. And then I finally figured out the host thing. Do you think if I waited around to know everything, this would not have happened? You take action. The Lord has a way. When you step into a new space and revealing to you the people, places, resources, things you need in that space, and you go from there and you go to the next one. I have a great friend of mine named Carl Edwards, who's a NASCAR driver. I sponsored his car for a number of years. And he said, the scariest thing in NASCAR is when there's a crash in front of you, we are trained to drive right into the smoke.
Fundamentals form the beginning, the basis, the reality from which everything else flows. And remember, there are no new fundamentals. Fundamentals are old, well established. Beware of someone who claims to have a new fundamental. That's like someone who claims to manufacture antiques. We would have to be suspicious, right? So fundamentals, basics, they are so very important to understand and consider and practice if you wish for the good life. And may I add here, make sure you don't go looking for the exotic answers to success. Success is a very basic process. It doesn't fall out of the sky, it doesn't have any mysteries, nor does it fall into the realm of the miraculous. Success is merely a natural result that comes from the consistent operation of the practical fundamentals. As someone wisely remarked, to be successful you don't have to do extraordinary things. Just do ordinary things extraordinarily well. Mr. Schoaf, my teacher, gave me many great phrases I'll always remember. One of them was, there are always about a half-dozen things that make 80% of the difference. What a key thought, a half-dozen things. Whether we are working on our health, wealth, personal goals, or professional enterprise, the difference between our ultimate success or inevitable failure lies in the degree to which we are willing to seek out, study, and to go to work on those half-dozen things. For a farmer to reap a plentiful harvest in the fall, for example, the major basics are fairly obvious. Soil, seed, water, sunshine, nourishment, and care. Each fundamental being equally in need of study and attention, for together they bring about the best chance for a successful harvest.
The Bible said in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Finding a still place where you can hear that little voice that directs traffic in your life. It's like the navigational system in my car. It says down 2 blocks and turn left. And that works real good until I turn the music up too loud. And because I'm out of the 60s, so I turn the music up until you have a hearing deficit, and I'm trying to hear direction, but the music is so loud. Now my new car, it just cuts it down for me right in the middle of the song. Turn left at the corner. Yeah, and sometimes God has to turn the music down for you because everything's turned up too loud, and God has to turn it down and bring you to your knees where you can hear the still voice. That's what started you. That's what called you. That's what inspired you. Don't let the noise of life or the noise of success or the noise of struggles or the noise of popularity become so loud that you lose your ability to hear the still small. For preachers, we think that we are speakers. Then let me give you just a key to speaking. People who do not hear right they cannot speak. Have you ever noticed that people talk funny? They talk funny because they hear funny. You talk funny. So he's back up in the cave again, and then a still small voice speaks in his life and begins to give him direction. You would be shocked how many leaders live in the cave. Leaders have a tendency to be cavemen. Cavemen, that's why you want it done. Certain way, do it this way, or get out of here. Cavemen, got a club, get it done. One time you're nice and on stage. People who work with you behind the scenes know that you're demanding and egotistical and self-centered and stressed out. And when you want it the way you want it. Boom, you caveman. This is my last day. I get nasty now.
My life changed at one point when my son was 6 years old, after I got my health together. We were at a car wash that we went to every Sunday. I'd see this man who was an older man there. Turns out he's the same age I am now, but at that time he seemed old to me. And so he'd read a newspaper every Sunday, but he wouldn't leave the car wash. It was weird. Like every time we were there, he's there reading his newspaper. And I didn't mean to be rude, but he saw my son, and then he said to me, he goes, "How old's your little boy?" Max was running around. We were waiting for my car, and I said, "He's 6 years old." And he goes, and he was right. He goes, "Enjoy the 6-year-old, because when he turns 7, the 6-year-old's gone forever." All parents can relate to that, right? And he goes, "And enjoy the 7-year-old, because when he turns 8, that 7-year-old's gone forever. He's a whole new person." And I didn't mean to be rude, but I said back to him, and I just was reflexive. I said, "Sir, when did that process stop for you?" He goes, "Huh?" I go, "What age did you stop turning into a new person every year?" He put his paper down. He goes, I don't know. I said, "You ought to figure that out. You ought to look into that." Because here's the truth. For most people, there becomes an age, I don't know if it's 18, 19, 20, where the 23-year-old is just like the 22-year-old. The 35-year-old, just like the 34-year-old. The 40-year-old, just like the 39-year-old. People don't continue to change and evolve and improve. They don't become better versions of themselves. There's all this stuff on social media about become a better version of yourself, become a better version of yourself. The fact of the matter is, there's a point in time in most people's lives where it's no longer a crisis or an emergency to change themselves. And I want to challenge you to do that. If you're going to grow, you have to grow your identity. You have to change who you are as a person. In this room right now, there's a thermostat somewhere on the wall, right over there. That thermostat sets the temperature of this room. No matter what we do in the room, let's say it's set at 75 degrees. No matter what we do externally to the room, if we open the door and cold air blew in here, that thermostat will kick in and regulate the room back to 75 degrees. Am I right or am I wrong? If the reverse happened, we open the door and heat blew in here, it will hit the air conditioner on and cool the room back to 75 degrees. True or false? Okay, that's your life.
How many think the economic world that we're in today is going to stay the way it is? Raise your hand. Okay, one man on drugs, there's always one. Okay. How many think that the economic environment is going to go through seasons? We're going to have some more ups and downs as we adjust to what's happening in the world here. Say I. Well, then if we know that, our goal, you and I as leaders, should be to anticipate that. In fact, everyone in this room is a leader of something, whether you're the leader of a company or whether you're a leader of a department, or whether you're a parent or hopefully you're a leader and not a follower. If you're a leader, you've got to exercise that skill. And so I want to talk to you about that and one of the most important skills of that. But most people don't exercise that leadership because they're dropping behind in their skill sets. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. How many of you in this room, I want an honest answer. I'd like you to yell the answer and raise your hand if you would, please. How many of you in this room have ever experienced the absolute total humiliation of playing a video game against a child? Scream I if you've done this experience. Oh, come on, let me hear you. What happens when you... Play the child. Who always wins? Come on, who wins? Always. Why? Is it because they're faster? Is it they're smarter? They're younger? Their neurons are functioning at a quicker tempo? Here's how it usually works. You're a mother or father, you're an uncle or an aunt, you're a grandfather or grandmother, you're a friend of the family, you're looking for a gift. We live in a tech world, in a world where today children play with an iPad and learn how to use it before they know how to tie their shoes. How different is that world? I was with Mark yesterday with his daughter for her 6-year-old birthday, and we're talking about things, and she's got these Legos, and a friend of ours says, oh, my 6-year-old goes on the iPad, searches on YouTube for videos on how to build cool stuff using Legos, and starts to study how to build all these structures. That's the world we're in, that our kids are in at 6 years old. And imagine what else they're searching for and finding at 6 years old. It's a wild, wild world. So here we are with this technology, and most of us are not seeing what it's doing for us. So you sit down with this child who's high tech. You're not. Even the techies in this room aren't usually as gamers. I know there are plenty of gamers in the room, but there's plenty not. And then what does the child do? The child says, oh, come on. You go, look, I'm not good at this. This is for you. Come on, uncle. Come on, auntie. Come on, mom. Come on, dad. It's my birthday. It's Christmas. They use the guilt approach, don't they? And what do you find? You finally break down. Okay. Now you should know you're being set up when they go, you go first. Right? And they go, look, it's really simple. You just shoot. You just shoot these guys and it all drops down. And you think, okay, I'm going to show this little bastard I can do a thing or two here, right? Take out the gun, you shoot, and you're dead in 2.3 seconds. Whose experience is? Say I. Now what happens to the child? And about 45 minutes later, you get your second turn. Am I right? And then you're really pissed. You're dedicated. You're devoted. You're focused. You're going to take this thing out. You last 4 seconds and you're dead. Out of the side of the head. The kid. 45 minutes again. Who's had this experience? Say I. Why does the child always win? Is it because they're faster? Is it because they're smarter? Is it because they're stronger? No, it's because they played this game before. As a result, they have the secret to success. They know the road ahead.
What are some of those things that you can do during this period of time? Go for walks. Do some things for you. Just go for a stroll so you can engage in some reflective thinking on life, on yourself, looking and enjoying the universe, smelling the roses along the way. Listen to upbeat music that inspire you. I have oldie but goodies. I have strategies that I engage in to recharge my batteries. I'm preparing for that because I know things are going to happen that I cannot anticipate. A very good friend of mine died the other day. I had a program for myself. I have books that I read that inspire me, tapes that I listen to that fire me up. Because you're going to have sometimes low moments when you won't want to get out of bed. You just want to stay there. At times you won't want to come out the house. There are times you'll be feeling better. Why? What's wrong? I don't know. Just leave me alone. Why did that happen? I don't know. It's called life. The other thing is take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here. I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are two kinds of people in life. You know, he said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. They create them. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
They cuss in the kitchen. I mean, the chef who graduated from some university, well, it gets rough in the kitchen. They get nasty in the kitchen. You get fired in the kitchen. You get yelled at in the kitchen. You got sauce spilling in the kitchen. You got all kinds of issues going on in the kitchen. Well, what happens in the church is that we open up the doors of the church and people come in the restaurant and they're so excited about the white tablecloth and the napkins and crystal goblets and the china that they get so excited that they want to work in the ministry.
Set this day up as a long, busy, exciting start for your new life. Get your first book for your new library today. Begin your new practice of setting goals today. Start clearing out a drawer of your new orderly desk today. Start eating an apple a day on your new health plan today. Put some money in your new investment for fortune account today. Start reading with intensity for your new wealth of mind plan today. Write a postponed letter today. Make a delayed telephone call today. Pick up your camera and take a picture of something to start your new treasury of photographs today. Get some momentum going on your new commitment to the better life. See how many activities you can pile on in this first day. Go all out. Break away from the negative downward pull of gravity. Start the thrusters going. Prove to yourself that waiting is over, hoping is past, and that faith and action have now taken charge. It's a new day, a new beginning for your new life. With discipline, you can't believe the list of positive moves you can make in the first day of your new beginning. You are ready to, as the Bible phrase says, fly with the eagles, and you will have begun your certain journey toward the last key concept we'll discuss on this cassette. Success. Success is both a journey and a destination, isn't it? It is both the steady, measured progress toward a goal and the achievement of a goal. Success is an accomplishment, whether it be great or small, and it's an understanding of the potential and power of an entire human life. Success is an awareness of value, and it's the cultivation of value through discipline. It can be tangible or intangible. Success is a process of turning away from something in order to turn toward something else. From no exercise to exercise. From candy to fruit. From not investing to investing. Success is responding to an invitation to change, to grow, to develop, to become, to move up to a better place with a better vantage point.